Hey everybody, this is Cathy Conley coming to you from Knott County Central, and I have with me an assistant that has helped me all year with this KVEC program and intervention tools that we have. But as you can see on the screen, I'm going to be presenting today about our 2020-2021 virtual KVEC program. So it's called Whenever I Want to. All I have to do is stream instead of dream, because we got beyond a dream this year. And so this is an innovative intervention during a pandemic. And Kat Con is my little helper, so she's ready to proceed on. And so that's just a little bit about myself. And my superintendent is Miss Kimberly King. My principal is Mr. Bobby Pollard, and my assistant principal is Mr. Jamie Couch. And I want to thank them for all their help and patience and guidance through this process. Our problem of practice basically focused on 5 questions. The main focus is, can we make an impact on student learning and student feedback and student participation by having more technology in order to stream our lessons and their responses. And so we're going to go through all of these questions as we go through the PowerPoint. So this was what got my entire project started. I had seen an article in educationworld.com, and basically it just said teachers and school administrators today have powerful technology at their fingertips, and using well-known platforms, they can stream lessons and events in their schools, allowing a wider audience to observe and even participate. And that's really great. I said, that's perfect. That's the quote of the century. But that's not always true in rural underfunded schools. So I said, well, what if we can do it? And what if we can do it here in Knott County? And we tried, and we've seen success. So these are the materials that I requested. I requested one for every teacher in our ELA department and our special education collaborative teacher with us. And so we got the Logitech cameras, which I'm on right now, and the Amazon Echo speaker, which they were delightful for various reasons. So this was our big visualization. Will all students be able to have a stronger grasp on interdisciplinary learning through the use of technology? I have an answer. I have a great answer. The answer is yes. It really did work. And as you can see, there are lots of students logged in. Some of them are showing faces, or they will show a camera when it's time for them to respond. Here's Kat Con and myself much earlier in the semester. I think this was or much earlier in the year. I think that's December. But it worked. It worked. I did not know. I'm new at this, very new, and this worked. And this is another picture of how I was able to stay on a meet and show them some live video from an experiment that, believe it or not, I teach English, but this was an experiment that was done about the blue fugates in Troublesome Creek. And it was talking about methemoglobinemia, and my students sort of crossed the line and learned a little science too. And it was fascinating to see how well they adapted to that, knowing they had just studied it in biology. And they could always go back and show this to their biology teacher, say, look, we're doing this in Appalachian literature. It was phenomenal, phenomenal. So here's questions that I first addressed with having active participation. How will the use of one-to-one learning or technology enhance learning, and to what degree will we be affected? And what specific interpersonal skills will be developed to a higher degree? And the results are in, and these are my words with data. The use of one-to-one devices paired with Logitech camera and Amazon speakers showed a growth in class participation of nearly 15% in the first semester and approximately 65% in the spring semester. That is mainly for my classes. And I asked and surveyed the other English teachers, and they said it was about that as well. So we had about a 50% growth from starting with these until now, and I think that's phenomenal. The students who were active participants in live Zoom meetings had significantly higher grades. They had stronger content knowledge, and they had much higher confidence within the course. You know, they could say, oh yeah, I remember when, and we could go back to that Zoom meeting, or, you know, they could go back, show it even to people, you know, and kind of have study partners. It was just great. And then this is my favorite part, the interpersonal skills that they developed. They became like stronger in vocalization, because I said, like, if you don't speak up, Kat Khan's going to speak up, and she may tell the wrong answer. So they really got into being the first to say and to get on there first. They had stronger expression of ideas because they saw different ways that people could communicate, um, you know, online and in chat rooms, and just sometimes with the camera off, but they could just speak into their own microphone. And they really, they came out of their shell, a bunch of them. They approached class discussion with more empathy. They felt more like literally we are not alone. That they felt alone, I think, at the end of last school year when we just went home on March 13th, was their last day. And I feel like they came back scared, and I was very scared as well. And this grant and these materials totally brought empathy. If it didn't do anything else, it made us all realize, you know, we got to all do it. We got to all do it. And then there were a few that just popped right out and developed strong leadership skills. And they'd say, hey, you know, let's discuss this, or let's discuss that. Or they would remind me very often, uh, your microphone is not on, or we can't see your whole screen. So they became little bosses, and it was great. It was great. And then this is another part that we discussed, how to improve educational quality. And these are just questions that I'm going to answer right now. I'm not going to sit here and go through them. Notice the PowerPoint that I made in the fall is this one, and it's dark. And so hopefully the words that you can see are going to be in red, and we've had improvement. So did educational quality improve at Knott County Central? And this is, you know, the old check yes or no question. And you should be checking yes on this one, because this is what it did. Online experiences helped students to understand and remember what they learned, because they had unlimited review, and practice. So they had a chance to go back and do it all again, or you know, share it with someone, get ideas. It was just amazing. The advantages that technology brought to our secondary classroom during this, I can't say it brought any disadvantages, because my students were fabulous with it. They were responsible, very responsible with this equipment and with the format. And so I can't really say that it brought any disadvantages. And the advantages were it brought us all out of our shell. And now we don't know what we're going to do to get into a new, you know, mode for next year. But we had virtual for a long time here at Knott Central, and then we had blended, and we've also had other teaching learning formats with this. And it's been blended virtual, and then we've had people come in on just certain days, like on Wednesdays when we all were virtual. So kids just they felt connected after we got them going on this. And this, how will students perform on assessments after having more online teaching and learning than ever before? Well, we're still determining that, and I'll show you what I mean in the next slide. Um, Removal of barriers. This was probably my favorite overall thing. It really, really removed barriers of every kind that I have ever experienced in a classroom. It removed um, English speaking or ESL student barriers. It removed socioeconomic barriers. It removed racial barriers, religious, and even like grade level barriers. Because I have arts and humanities and Appalachian literature, as well as some English classes, and anyone can take those first two mentioned. And so I had some classes that had like 10, 12th graders and 4 11th and 10th grade, 11th graders, and then like 5 freshmen. And that, usually when that's going on in person, you don't hear much from the new kids on the block. So this really just, it allowed the ninth grade to just excel and feel very close to the class. And what degree will students be able to communicate with any sort of performance barrier? That's unlimited. They've done all kinds of things with this. They've done interviews, and they've done um, just them just putting their answer onto an audio and adding it. Um, it's unlimited right now. We're just shooting for the stars. These are my favorite quotes, and I borrowed them, and they didn't know I was borrowing them, but I did. Here's what it's really about, folks. This is what it's really about. These are what the kids said. So one kid said, I wasn't sure about taking a class like Appalachian literature because I'm not that good at English yet. Doing it with videos and being able to see what was happening at school during class made it a lot easier for me. I learned a lot of Appalachian English by seeing and hearing it this way. And that's a 10th grade ESL student. He has been virtual the entire year. And then here's another one. Sometimes my internet would go in and out like during a class. That was frustrating, but at least I knew I could go back and watch the Zoom meeting and not miss anything. That helped a lot because I have a bunch of stuff to do this year. And Miss Conley using a microphone and a camera and her crazy little doll helped me relax and keep up with my English grade. And that's a 12th grade collaborative student. And so we've run the gamut with this and hopefully touched lives all over the school. Improving immediate feedback, loved this. This was great as well. Before, I was terrible at having stacks of papers, as we all are, and saying, okay, I'll get these to you, and it might be 3 days or 5 days or longer. But with this, it was immediate. And the next slide is going to show you some adjectives that popped in my head about how it helped me and them. The changes in my feedback to them and from them, it was immediate, it was interactive, it evolved the whole time. It was measurable. I can go on Google Classroom, Infinite Campus, look and see, turn this in, have I graded it? It was very reflective. I thought a little bit about before, I would send certain comments. I reflected more on what did I do, what did I need to do. It was confidential, loved it. So instead of, saying out loud and in front of a class, great job, that, not every kid loves to hear that because some get really like withdrawn when you say that, like, why are you singling me out? So these confidential feedback sessions that we could have, And that most of mine were done via chat or on Google Classroom chat. It was great. Personalization. I could take longer myself to look at their work and give it a more personalized review and have more talked with them about it. And collaboration plus, I put the plus in there because that's what it did. This project has given us collaboration beyond anything that I've seen. And it's crazy because we're not in the same room as the collaborative teachers for the most part. At the beginning of this thing, they were in another room and they joined the Zoom. Now they come in. But at the beginning, I thought this isn't going to work. We can't have a collaborative teacher, 4 doors down and me here and some kids here and some kids at home. We did it. We did it. And it was beautiful here in Knott County. It was beautiful. From this room, from 112, it was beautiful. And so measuring outcomes, we are working on this, and the reason that we're taking a little bit longer is we technically have not done the entirety of our testing, and we're awaiting ACT scores as well. But I can see just from grades and then from feedback from teachers that students are improving in their reading and writing. And I think it's because maybe they can have access to have things read to them, easier than being in class and having to have that set up. They just did so much better. And then there are patterns of growth. And the patterns of growth that I'm seeing from talking with the Gear Up teachers, the 9th grade students are becoming well adjusted. They ended their 8th grade year doing something like this. And then so they came in not knowing any different way to approach high school. And they really, they're showing improvement. And some leaders are blossoming and blooming in all content areas in the 9th grade. So that's the plus. And then overall, our outcomes for success. Fortunately, my district is providing every student with a personal laptop device. So that worked out. It took a little while to get all the kinks out, get them all a device and all that, but it did. It's happened. And this is a project was an overall arching goal for students to improve communication skills, exhibit positive engagement in a virtual classroom, become online learners and leaders at our school, and they have. And so I just put this on there. Oops, sorry. Let me go back. I put this on here, Success for All Patriots. This is just a picture of us, seriously, not too long last year before we got called out for the pandemic, and we were much more united and much more a front of kids. But I just put this on here because I think we've all had success in our own way, whether we're cheering for it or we're just kind of like thinking about it or we're caught in the middle. We all have gained something from it. And I have this little quote, but it's supposed to be at the end and it'll come on the end. So this was what the goal of the whole thing was, to ensure positive experience. And in order to do that, we must reach in order to teach. And I can't go through this camera and get into every kid's environment. But yet I can. And I'm going to end this PowerPoint with a quote from Anne Frank. And I think that she embodies what it is, the spirit of 2020 and 2021 pandemic. It can be. And it says how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. We have been in a very different world. And so just that's what I told my students. Let's just not wait. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's try it. And we've tried and we failed at some things, but we retried and rebooted and revamped and got back with it. And so I'm going to show you now just a small segment of one of the online meets that we had. And hopefully you'll be able to see this along with me. I'm only going to play just a little bit of this. On this particular day, I had my camera off on purpose because I wanted them to see how it felt to just look at a letter. So I'm just going to play like 30 seconds so you can see how the interaction went. This is a day when we actually read excerpts from the Diary of Anne Frank, but they did not know they were Anne Frank. They thought they were kids during this pandemic. It was kind of cool. So here you go. Friday, December the 11th, and I welcome you to English 3. This is 5th period. I'm so excited that the week we've had and all the great things we've done. If you weren't able to join the live meet on Wednesday with Mrs. Gruwell and the Freedom Riders, it was a great experience. They did not record it and they were not allowed to record it. So if you missed it, it was just, it is what it is, but I'm going to do everything I can to possibly get them to come back in the spring and do another meet with us. We'll see if that will work out. But it wasn't a grade, it didn't count as a grade against you if you weren't able to attend. It was just a little bonus, like life experience, right? And I am going to be writing an article for the Troublesome Creek Times for next week's paper. And if you want to submit any kind of a quote or an opinion or anything in support of what we did Wednesday, please do. A couple people have already sent me their own personal quotes, and they will be put in the newspaper. Now, if you do not want your name listed with that quote, just tell me, just say, here's a quote, but I don't want it to be attributed to me. And I'll just say, okay, please, and then you, screen. I'm gonna click back to meet and you let me know if you can see the screen.
I can.
All right, awesome. That's all I needed to know. But how about the others? If I pull this up, hopefully you can see. All right. Well, what we're going to do today, it looks like a lot, but it's really not. It's just a small. That's one journal entry, and then here's the second one. And we're going to read these, and your assignment is going to be, when we are finished, you're going to write a response to whoever this is that wrote on Saturday, June the 20th. And I marked out the year because I didn't want you guys to go, oh, I bet I can figure out who that is. But it's Saturday, June 20th. And then the next one is Sunday, June 21st. So they are back-to-back dates, and it's the same author. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you. But you're going to write a response to both days. And so that was just a little snippet into one of the lessons that I did using the technology that we had. So one last thing that I would like to do is I would like to say thank you so much to KVEC for your support and your believing in us in Knott County and believing in little old me in room 112. I am more than delighted to see student growth and to be a part of the KVEC circle. I call it the circle because it all just keeps coming back, and I keep sending it out as much as I can. So thank you, KVEC, and I hope everybody's had a successful school year. This has been a successful program for me, and just remember, whenever I want you, all I have to do is stream and I can get you. All right. See you guys.